on the carousel. Clap, riding along on a carousel, trying to catch up to you. Everyone, come on! Riding along on a carousel, will I catch up to you? Horses chasing, cause they're racing, so near yet so far. On a carousel, on a carousel. Near and near about changing horses, still so far away. People fighting for their places, just get in my way. Soon you leave and then I'll lose you. Still we're going round on a carousel, on a carousel, on a carousel.
Welcome to a tour of my 1960 Car Cruiser Carousel. At a first glance you might be thinking it's a rather conservatively styled caravan, but looks can be deceiving, for this is one of the best and most practical all-round caravans that I've ever had the good fortune to own. Exquisite little details just adorn the Car Cruiser from the front to the back. From the very tip at the front, the first thing you'll notice is the pennant mast, something which was very popular among caravanners from the 1950s through to the 1970s. Car Cruiser were the only manufacturer who I believe ever made their own pennant mast specifically to fit their own caravans. It was so that so-called clubman caravanners could fly the flag wherever they may be. Another feature you'll notice of the Car Cruiser is that it has a door on each side. This was intended for continental touring, which again was very popular during the era which the Car Cruiser was made. It has an awning rail on both sides and a window in each door for through ventilation. At the front you will find, where the gas bottle is mounted, a custom-built gas bottle holder, which may seem fairly standard now, but at the time was quite a novel idea. The gas bottle simply sits within this metal frame, which can be easily undone for the changing of the gas. There's a little input just behind it for the gas pipe, and the single bottle keeps the nose weight low. Another feature I love is the cast aluminium grab handles, which also incorporate the road lights. You'll find them at the front and at the back of the caravan. I've had this particular Car Cruiser for about 6 or 7 years now, but it's been restored and on the road for only a year so far. But it's already been a great little continental tourer for us, and we've taken it to France and Belgium so far. I'll quickly just show you at the back the cast aluminium grab handles which incorporate the road lights. It's such an artistic yet clever feature, and such a quirky thing exclusive to Car Cruiser. Here we have the train-style folding window doors. If that even makes sense, I'm not sure it does. We have the opening window in the door for ventilation, which can be locked to stop the window from being opened from the outside. It's a novel little idea, again exclusive to Car Cruiser. Outside it's finished in grey with a white roof. This was done to reflect the heat from the roof, but give it a bit of flair for the side panels, and I believe the colour is a very close match to the original one. Now we've had a little look round the outside, let's take a look inside at what makes the Caravan so special. This is the compact but very practical kitchenette area of the Car Cruiser, and the first thing that your eye's drawn to is this fantastic Formica. That was one of the original selling points for me for the Caravan, because I love anything mid-century, and this just screams the 1950s and early 1960s. And as well, you've got the leather cloth, as it's called, wall covering, which is a wipe clean. It's kind of, it's hard to describe it. It's like a very thick vinyl, that they cover the walls in, which again has a lovely matching pattern on it. And the first thing you notice is it has a one-piece worktop. The whole thing lifts up like so, and underneath it is shrouded entirely in aluminium, so it's very easy to keep clean. If you get any splashes of grease from the pan or water from the washing up bowl, it is so easy to just wipe it all down and clean it. And then once you've sorted it all out, close the lid again, and it almost looks like a piece of furniture. It's fabulous. This unit up here I actually built from scratch, sort of. This particular cabinet came from a donor car cruiser, and someone had shabby chic the interior, and I managed to strip all the paint off the cupboard and use that, because the original cabinet here had been decimated by the moisture that had got in from the ceiling. While I'm talking about the ceiling, I'll mention something else. You've probably noticed in the shots that the ceiling is painted a very pale blue, specifically a sky blue. That's not something I've done, that is original, although I have repainted it, but I did colour match it. And Car Cruiser worked out that flies do not land on a blue ceiling, and it is absolutely true. You wouldn't think it would be that simple, but modern manufacturers go to all this trouble to fit fly screens for that purpose, and Car Cruiser just painted the ceiling blue and did the same job. Having been to France, and we went to Belgium with it in the height of summer, I can confirm absolutely does work. It's fantastic. So that's a quick tour of the little kitchenette. It has a cooker, a sink, and a pump. Draws water from below, and then up in here in the cupboard is where we store the original Car Cruiser china, which I keep wrapped up because it's my favourite china I think I've ever seen. And it's got the little Car Cruiser Caravans on, coupled with the Car Cruiser badge, and these are hand finished, and a full set of 4 was supplied with new Car Cruisers until the about 1964, and they have a bespoke china cabinet made especially to fit those particular pieces of china, and it comes with dinner plates, bowls, side plates, and cups and saucers, and a beautiful teapot with a milk jug and sugar bowl. So it's quite a lot of weight to be carting around in a caravan, but it was the 1960s and people did things properly back then.
Car cruiser caravans rose to prominence in the early 1930s. Major C. Fleming Williams was known as Streamline Bill to his friends, and the early car cruiser models were amongst the first caravans to be something other than a box shape in appearance. The reverse streamline body shell defied convention, but they became immensely popular. The strength of the car cruiser design was not that it was built out of expensive materials like the rival Winchester Caravan, but was built to be strong, durable, but most importantly, lightweight. Fleming Williams teamed up with his friend Wing Commander O.G. Lywood, who provided the financial backing to develop the car cruiser brand. Fleming Williams sold his interest in car cruiser following the war, leaving Lywood at the helm. In the 1950s, Car Cruiser would tackle the issue of ration building materials by pioneering the techniques of forming aluminium, notably on their infamous Lynx model, which ran from 1953 to 1961. It was a work of art as much as it was a caravan, filled with the practical interior that Car Cruiser were now famous for. During the 1950s, Car Cruiser found the most success with their Clubman range of tourers. These conventionally styled caravans found huge favour with the so-called clubmen, who were known to be hardy caravanners, and Car Cruiser's order book was bursting at the seams as they fought to keep up with demand. Each caravan was fully tailored to the customer's needs, sometimes taking up to 2 years from the planning stage to the customer receiving their caravan. To keep the brand modern and relevant, but to also help with their financial woes, the Carousel model was first debuted at the 1957 Motor Show. The Carousel looked similar to the Clubman, but lacked the front and rear bay windows, which were time-consuming and costly to build. The Carousel was cheaper, lighter, and more contemporary styled than the Clubman models, and demand was such that an ultra-tiny lightweight Carissima model joined the range in 1960. But financial troubles were never far away. A series of buyouts followed in the early 1960s, and a considerable cheapening of the brand as the mid-60s approached. A compulsory purchase order in their original factory in Middlesex forced them to relocate, which proved to be the death knell for the brand. They were finally bought by Cooper Coachworks, who kept the Car Cruiser name alive until around 1973, when the brand disappeared for good. Now we've had a look at the history of Car Cruiser, let's go back and look at some more details of my 1960 Carousel. One of the main things you'll notice in the Car Cruiser is the enormous central skylight, which absolutely floods light into the Caravan. It's covered by a paper Venetian blind of Car Cruiser's design and can be opened at each end. In terms of sleeping capacity, there are 2 single beds at the front of the Caravan, made by means of extending one bunk over the doorway to make it 6 foot long, and here at the back is the double bed, which cleverly only uses 3 seat cushions, and by means of tucking the largest one down the back of the seat base to save space and reduce the number of cushions needed to make the bed. The 2 sleeping areas can be divided by means of opening the wardrobe and using this extension door to screen the 2 areas off. You'll have to excuse it not matching, for I've not quite finished varnishing it yet. It took ages to revarnish all the wood of the interior. Moving back to the front, it actually has optional cupboards here which aren't standard on all Car Cruiser models. In the back corner we'll find a very small toilet room, but this can be extended over the second doorway to double the space. This neat flap bridges the gap of the roof, and it can be closed off to allow the second door to be used as a proper doorway, which most 2-door Caravans don't have the ability to do so. I thought I'd take a minute to show you some of the paperwork that came with the Caravan. Now, typically you'd sort of expect there to be some actual paperwork on the Caravan itself, which sadly there isn't. But nonetheless, when we picked up the Caravan, it was absolutely full of stuff. It was as if it had just been brought home one day from holiday, left in the garden, and never turned a wheel again until I got there. It's quite sad, really. And some of the paperwork I'm about to show you hints at the life that the Caravan had led before my ownership. Fascinating little insights into how people used to holiday that I thought I'd like to share with you. The first thing is this little paper bag, and it's in French, so obviously the Caravan went to France. And inside it, it's filled with postcards from various places that they must have been with the Caravan. See, they must have been up to Scotland. Obviously some famous landmarks around France. So it's quite sweet that all this was still there inside the Caravan. Of course I kept hold of it. I never throw anything away. People who know me know that I never get rid of anything. The other thing was we have a 1973 map of sites in Europe from the Caravan Club, as it used to be known. And this is for Europe, Spain and Portugal and Scandinavia. So I'm guessing Spain and Portugal weren't in the EU by that point. I'm sure someone will tell me off in the comments. There's the token beer mats that must have been pinched from the pub. Did come from West Yorkshire after all. I can say that 'cause it's where I'm from. We've got a Caravan Club map for 1977, which shows all the sites in England and Scotland and Wales. And it's fascinating when you get the Caravan Club map now. It's huge, but this is obviously quite a small map. All the red flags are the sites, and the little red dots are the certified locations for 5 caravans only. So that's a nice little piece to have. We also worked out that they were members of the Yorkshire Centre, which was a rallying group. Now, I mentioned that car cruisers were extremely popular with ralliers because they were among the best designed caravans that money could buy at the time. even though they weren't as expensive as a big posh car light or something like that, they seemed to just have everything just right, and they were immensely popular on the rally scene, which is why it's no surprise that there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 rallying programs still in the Caravan from its days with the Yorkshire Centre. And moving on, another beer mat. Got the instructions for the 70s hob, which had been fitted when I got the Caravan, which was lifted straight out again. No place being in here. One nice period 60s cooker. There were quite a few receipts for a Lebberston touring park in Scarborough. Don't know if it's still there, but I get the impression that they had the Caravan sighted there for a year or so, because there's quite a lot of receipts from it, and there is a receipt somewhere for storage as well. We've also got a program here in various languages for a ticket for the Paris Underground, or the Metro, which is quite interesting, still with the Caravan. A guide to visiting Normandy, dated 1967, so you can guess that the Caravan went there as well. We've also got a tourism guide from 1974 for France, and this is quite nice. Campsite at Saint-Nazaire in France. Look at that, those mid-century toilet blocks. You don't see them like that anymore. So yeah, the final piece of the puzzle, which I think will interest most of you, is we have the Townsend Thorsen European Ferries booking envelope, and in there we'll find the receipt for the last ferry that I believe the Caravan went on in 1978. Yeah, there's a receipt there for the Caravan crossing on the ferry, and also they must have frequently gone to Europe because they didn't use their free GB sticker. So it's quite nice that this Caravan has all this history, and I thought it was quite momentous that it was obviously last went abroad in 1978. We can pretty much guess that was the last time that it was used, and I thought it was quite fitting that the first place we took it after the restoration was back to France again. So talk about a full circle moment, a bit sentimental like that. Obviously the two doors on the Caravan lend itself to continental touring because it's irrelevant if you end up facing the wrong way on the pitch, because you can just use a different door. And interestingly enough, they paid to have an extra window. The offside door on a Car Cruiser Carousel did not have the opening window as standard, nor did it have the awning rail, and both of those have been added. So you can bet that whoever bought this originally, and I don't think it was this family because you can't seem to find anything older than about 1966 for campsite receipts, whoever bought it certainly had intentions of taking it abroad, which was such an adventure back in those days. It still is now, but you can't imagine it when international travel was seen as being an elaborate jet setter, and here you were with a Caravan taking your own little home from home over into a new country. It was really seen as a big deal. And the Caravan magazine, which is still going today, had a little car badge which was inscribed with Les Amis d'Outre-Manche, which means our friends across the water. And to be able to purchase one, you had to write to Caravan magazine with a copy of your ferry crossing receipt to prove that you'd gone, before they would sell you the badge. And the idea was, if caravanners saw the badge on the car when you were out and about, you would be a point of reference for people to ask about what it's like to caravan on the continent. And I thought, oh, what's the big deal? Surely people didn't pretend to go abroad, but they did. Somebody came up to me at a show once. His father deliberately bought the export spec of a Caravan and told his neighbours every year he went to France, took loads of pictures of him on the beach. Really all he'd done is gone to Bridlington. So it really was an adventure to really go abroad. So you can see why they were a bit protective over it. You just can't imagine it now, can you? But so anyway, yeah, that's the. Oh, there's one more thing. Something else that was in the drawer that was quite interesting. Can't get the drawer out now because I'm sat here. We also found in the drawer an original 70s bag for Topshop. But that's a collector's item now, isn't it? So I hope you've enjoyed this little tour of my 1960 Car Cruiser Carousel. I've certainly enjoyed talking about it because, as I've said quite a few times, I love this caravan. I'm hoping to make a few more videos like this, showing off some fantastic designs from over the years, and hopefully covering some modern quirky caravans as well at some point. And if you want to be notified when my next videos go up, please do click the subscribe button. I don't put up a new video every week because life just gets in the way, unfortunately. But I'm hoping to push on with my 1959 Sprite aerial project, and we're going to wrap that one up soon. I've got a couple of other projects sat in the wings ready to take on after I finish the aerial, and I've got loads more caravans to show you of my own and ones that belong to friends, so can't wait to see what more content we can share. And in the meantime, if you've enjoyed these videos, I am talking constantly about classic caravans and quirky modern ones on the Not Another White Box social media. You'll find me on Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, and we continue the conversation there, so please do give me a follow and get involved and comment on the posts and share your thoughts as well. It's good to get talking objectively about caravan design. I feel like not enough people are doing it, which is why we've ended up in this scenario where everything's just more of the same. So please do join in the conversation, and let's put the world to rights about caravanning, and hopefully see you again on the channel when I upload the next video. Thanks for watching.